joined by Work and Pensions Secretary Mel Stride now this morning. Good morning to you, and I'm sure on this poignant day you want to share your reflections on everything that's taking place to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. But, you know, veterans obviously very much in all of our minds today, aren't they? And the question of whether enough is being done to help support those brave men and women over the years that have fought for our country.
Well, can I firstly say you're absolutely right. Today is a very poignant moment in which to reflect on the sacrifices that were made 80 years ago with that amphibious landing, 150,000 allies landing on those 5 beaches. And I and my family watched from house over last night a very emotional moments during the commemorations that were held then. And I thought some of the interviews actually with some of those that have survived even to today, very moving, and obviously a lot of very deeply buried memories, I think, for some of those people. So we owe them a great deal. So on the veterans, you're absolutely right. We owe our veterans an enormous debt of gratitude. We've had a veterans minister at the cabinet table now for some time with his own department within the cabinet office, fully funded, £10 million a year to drive forward various things that we've already been doing for veterans, including making sure that they get into good jobs in the workplace, national insurance, holiday for employers that employ veterans. We've announced today that we'll be extending that. But we want to go still further if we're re-elected, and in the next Parliament, bringing forward legislation to underpin our commitment and bringing forward a legally binding strategy, action plan, and within that, a number of different things, including putting military qualifications, for example, on the same footing as civilian qualifications, further discounts to the rail card that veterans have, so reducing that by about 30%, and making sure we go still further on areas like mental health and physical health for these very important people.
Which is all very important, yes. So from that rail card, there will be a £9 a year
30
saving,
down to 21, yes.
Which, you know, yes, it all counts, but in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a great deal, does it? And we know over the years that there has been issues. Homelessness, for example, among armed forces veterans in England has risen by 14%. That's one of the recent statistics that's available. Housing is in a shocking state. A recent report said that there'd been a legacy of underfunding. Isn't the trouble with this that over the last few years not enough has been done to support veterans?
Well, as I say, there is a huge amount that we've done, and I think the fact that Johnny Mercer, who's done such incredible work in this area, actually sits at the cabinet table is evidence and a testament to that. And certainly cabinet meetings that I've attended, Johnny has often had points to make on behalf of veterans, and indeed presented to a cabinet on just that subject on a few occasions. So it is an area. Now, there is still further to go, and that's why we're announcing today this further additional commitment, if we are elected, to have legislation to really give a legal underpinning to some of the work that we're doing and further work that we will be doing in this area.
Mr Stride, can I ask you about the breaking news we've had this morning from the Electoral Commission? We know that Frank Hester and his company, the Phoenix Partnership, gave the Conservative Party £10 million last year. It's now been confirmed that in the first 3 months of this year, a further £5 million was paid by Mr Hester's company to the Conservative Party. This is the same individual who was reported in March as having said that Diane Abbott makes him want to hate all black women and that she should be shot. And the Prime Minister then, after thinking about it for a day or so, condemned what he'd said as racist. Was the money paid to the Conservative Party in the first 3 months of the year paid in the weeks before his racist comments came to light, or was that money paid after the Prime Minister called him racist?
The answer to that, Ed, is I have personally no idea to the answer to that question. I'm not intimately involved in fundraising in the party at all. But let me just make a general and important comment and observation here, which is that any racist comment is utterly, utterly unacceptable. I believe that Mr Hester has shown considerable remorse since making those remarks, which were utterly unacceptable. I have taken great personal pride in the fact that I've sat round a cabinet table that is the most diverse in our history, in fact, with a British Asian Prime Minister at its head, who I supported during his leadership campaign and supported very strongly to be our Prime Minister. So that is the very clear position that I have and that the Conservative Party has on those kind of issues.
I appreciate that you yourself called this out as racist, as did Kemi Badenoch at the time. The Prime Minister followed on in doing so. But, you know, we've been finding out the news this morning and we found out our lines to take. And I would have thought if you're the government minister appearing on this programme, somebody ought to have given you the facts so you could tell our viewers what has happened. Diane Abbott this morning said, this is an insult to me and all black women. I guess the question is, if somebody says something which is racist and is, you know, a huge donor, I think of the £7.5 million given to the Conservative Party in the first 3 months of this year, 3/4 of that, 2/3 of it came from Mr Hester. Surely, if you say he's racist, the Prime Minister says he's racist, the comments were unacceptable, and you are proud of being in a diverse cabinet, surely you should give the money back, rather than just waiting until now, declaring it and saying, I've not been told what happened. Surely we have an obligation to show our viewers we take this seriously.
Well, Ed, to be fair, I think you asked me a very, very specific question about the precise timing in the first quarter of this year of a particular donation, and I don't think it's unreasonable, given this news has just broken whilst I've been out on the media round since about 6:30 this morning.
Isn't that the question?
Not to have not to have the answer to that precise question, but
isn't that the question? I mean, the question is,
no, I think,
if you received the money after he had said something which the Prime Minister calls as racist, that would be absolutely shocking. I mean, surely you know that the money came beforehand.
OK. Well, as I say, I've been out doing media since about 6:30 this morning. I was aware that this particular story has surfaced.
Phones and,
of course, and I'm also
and
I'm talking about veterans and D-Day, and I'm also talking about the fact that the Labour Party is intent on raising our taxes and so on. So there's a lot of things that I've been out discussing. I've made really clear my position, the Conservative Party's position on this issue
Do you
of
think
racism.
the Conservative Party should give the money back? Do you think the Conservative Party should give the money back?
Ed, I'm not going to get drawn in those kind of issues.
No,
you know, that people are asking whether, you know, Vaughan Gething should, your leader in Wales, should have been keeping money, £200,000 that was donated in respect of somebody who has a conviction in that particular situation. So I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of. Well, I think there is, actually, and he's just lost a vote of no confidence as a consequence of exactly that issue. So I think it is quite a serious situation.
Well, a racist comment about black women being shot.
It is utterly unacceptable.
Right, and you should give the money back.
We have said that. We have made it very clear that it is utterly unacceptable that somebody should say. He has shown deep remorse as a consequence of having made those utterly unacceptable remarks. As to the precise timing of that payment, I don't know the precise date on which that payment was made.
When I was doing a job like yours 10 or 15 years ago, I'd like to think I'd have said I'd give the money back.
Well, as I say, I've given you a very clear answer to the issue of what was said, that it was totally and utterly unacceptable. I've explained that I don't have all the intricate details of the timing exactly of those payments, and, you know, that's really where I am on it.
We appreciate that. Thank you,
Mel Stride, Work and Pensions Secretary, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
And just to add, Frank Hester has said he accepts he was rude about Diane Abbott in a private meeting several years ago, but his criticism had nothing to do with her gender nor the colour of her skin.